Hey everyone, welcome to Geeking Out, the podcast in which we dive into the career journeys of some of the amazing humans in tech and geek out on topics like software development, DevOps, observability, reliability, and everything in between. I'm your host, Adriana Villela, coming to you from Toronto, Canada. And geeking out with me today, I have Kat Cosgrove. Welcome, Kat.
Howdy.
And where are you calling from?
Edinburgh, Scotland.
Ooh, exciting. Okay, are you ready to dive into our icebreaker questions?
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right, so first question, are you a lefty or a righty?
I am a righty.
Okay, next question, do you prefer iPhone or Android?
Android. I had the last iPhone I had was a 3GS,
Oh,
which died
damn.
when I dropped it in the bathtub. And I don't know. I have a Pixel 9 Pro.
Ooh, how do you like that?
I love it, but I'm kind of chained to it. Like I committed hard to the Pixel because I use Google Fi because I travel so much
Yeah.
that I don't want to deal with cell phone carriers that like charge you different rates for different countries for data and minutes, and Google Fi does not. So I'm locked into the Android Google ecosystem.
It's all about the lock-in, right? With
Yeah,
cell phones. So yes.
yeah.
I
Once they get you, you're got.
Yeah, that's it. That's right. Yeah, Apple got me at the iPhone 3GS, and I've not let go since. I had a BlackBerry
Yeah.
before that, which I loved until it started to like shut down in the middle of phone calls, and then I just got like pissed. I'm like, I'm switching. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah, that's how I rage quit the iPod. I don't know what like I'm cursed or like my iPods were haunted, but like I had 3 iPods in a row that I had to take back to the Genius Bar to get replaced because albums were skipping. Like albums that had been purchased from iTunes
Oh,
were skipping as if like
what?
I had ripped a bad CD
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something. Kept doing it, and I gave up and bought a Zune. And
Okay,
I
how was
still
that? Because I almost bought one.
I loved it. I miss them. The software sucked shit. Like the actual like Zune desktop application was laggy and slow, but the actual experience using the literal device
Yeah.
was incredible. I really miss it. I don't use my phone. I hike a lot, and I don't use my phone when I hike, but I still like to have music. If Microsoft would re-release the goddamn Zune, I would buy one in a heartbeat, like so
Oh.
fast.
That is so cool because I totally considered one at the time, and I remember too, like, the Zune had some advanced features even over the iPod at the
Yeah.
time, because I think you could even do, like, Bluetooth, like, music transfer between Zune users, right? Is that
Yeah, you
if I
could, and,
recall
I
correctly?
think I remember them, being able to handle, audio output at a higher bit rate, but it's been so long since I had a Zune, like, I have no idea if that's a correct memory or not, but also they just, like, looked cooler. I was
Did.
very goth back then and, like, still am, obviously, I mean, look at me, but, the Zune came in black, and the
Ah,
iPod
yeah,
did
yeah.
not time come in black,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Well, there you go. So, endorsement for the Zune. That's so cool. It's
to
such a
the
blast from the
technology, let's
past.
go.
Right on. Okay, next question. Do you prefer Mac, Linux, or Windows?
It depends on what I'm doing. This call is coming to you from my Windows desktop,
Okay.
which is a machine that I built for gaming and also handles all of my big video calls. It's got a big camera mounted behind my desk and a ring light. For like daily, everyday use, browsing the internet, playing video games, Windows, 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 all the way. I actually think that it would be a pretty hard sell to convince me to use Linux as a daily driver in any situation. The user experience is still just like not very good, and my primary reason for having a home desktop is playing video games, which Linux is just simply not good at.
Yeah.
Um, for any time that I have to write code, I use my MacBook. That I do prefer. Like I can do it on Windows, right? Like WSL2 is fine, but I already have all of my dev environments set up on my MacBook, so I use that. But most of the time, if I'm on the computer, I'm on this Windows machine.
Ah, cool, cool.
Sorry, everybody.
It's interesting though, because so many of my friends who are gamers, it's like, yeah, Windows. It's Windows
Yep.
for gaming or bust, because can't You cannot convince anyone to game on a Mac or on a Linux machine.
No, like some stuff you can emulate. Like a bunch of older games have native support for Linux, or you can run Wine or something like it to emulate Windows to run it, but it's not going to be great experience wise. And like brand new AAA games, no shot. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I feel you. Okay, next question. Do you have a favorite programming language?
yeah, it's Python. I do also know like Go and JavaScript and PHP, but if I need to prototype something very, very quickly, Python may not be the best choice for like what I'm actually trying to do, but I can make it do it, and I can make it do it pretty quickly. Like it's a good multi-tool language for me. Um, it's not the first language I learned, so that's not why. It's just it it feels very, very flexible. So I'll could prototype something in Python and then build it in a more ideal language later
Yeah,
on. But if I'm just trying to bang something out real quick, Python.
I can so relate to that because my I did Java for 16 years, so I learned Python later in life, and Python is so nice to code in.
It is, it's pleasant. It's like,
Right?
if pseudocode was valid and executable, right?
Yeah,
Like, you can kinda just, wing it a lot of the time, and you're gonna be pretty close to writing valid Python, so
yeah,
why not?
exactly, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just it's absolutely lovely, and yeah, it's
it is.
also like my nowadays like my go-to whenever I want to fuck around with stuff. It's like
Yeah.
Python. Very cool.
Somebody's got a library for that, like
Exactly, exactly, and it's one of those, like, it's I guess an old-timey language by now. I mean, it's been around for a while.
yeah, since, like, 1996, I think.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like
so
it's not quite a legacy
not
language, but,
quite.
like, it's mature for sure.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
geriatric, but it's mature. You can make it do damn near anything.
you really can.
Yeah.
Okay, next question, do you prefer dev or ops?
That's a difficult question. Um, so I used to be a dev. I was a web developer, and then I was an embedded Linux developer, which does cause like a very, very specific type of brain damage from which I have recovered entirely. But when I started doing developer advocacy, I was working for like DevOps tooling companies. I was working
Mhm.
for JFrog. So ops has made me a lot of money and given me like the financial freedom to take care of myself and people I care about. So I like ops quite a lot for that. Like now, obviously, I work in cybersecurity, but uh, I don't know. I think I'm still gonna have to go dev because ops doesn't allow me as easily to build stupid shit when I'm bored.
Yes, that is so
And
true.
and so like on the one hand, financial freedom, on the other, stupid shit.
Yeah,
And the stupid shit does make me happy. So
I feel
I'm
you.
going to have to go dev. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the stupid shit when I'm bored, it's like, you can sure, you can spin up like a Kubernetes cluster in your Google
Yeah.
Cloud, but it's gonna cost you.
It's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you. That shit is not free.
No.
Whereas making a, I don't know, dumb fake conference and chucking it on Netlify is free, as long as you don't get too much traffic. Uh, so it's, yeah, I'm gonna have to say dev for the fun factor.
Love it, love it. Okay, next question. Do you prefer JSON or YAML?
JSON. And I know that I shouldn't say that because I work in Kubernetes and we kind of like assume that everything is going to be YAML, but you can feed Kubernetes JSON as well. It doesn't have to be YAML. Uh, YAML bothers me because there isn't a consistent spec. It is like too easy to end up with something that's improperly formatted because there's like invisible white space hanging out.
Yeah, true.
That drives me absolutely bonkers. Um, I just find JSON easier to read too. So, uh, I once heard a woman straight face at a conference for like the entire duration of her talk say Johnson instead of
Oh
JSON.
no.
And, like, I think she was fucking with everybody because she was very capable. She wasn't, like, junior, she
Yeah.
wasn't new. She was very capable, so I think she was fucking with
Oh my
everybody,
god.
and I have thought about that since, and that conference was, like, I don't know, fucking 7 or 8 years ago or something, and I still think about it. So, like, whoever you are, I can't remember your name. If you listen to this, please reach out because I just I gotta know if that was like if you genuinely call it that, if you were fucking with people, if you don't know how it's pronounced, I gotta know. I really hope that you were fucking with everybody because it was so funny.
If she was, like, that is next level, like, for real.
It's incredibly good. It was at a Python conference. I just Johnson instead of JSON the whole time. Yeah.
You mentioned one thing which, I knew about, but it is a little known fact about being able to feed JSON instead of YAML,
Yeah.
manifest to your Kubernetes. Do you opt for using JSON instead when you're applying, like, Kubernetes manifests?
Myself, no. Unless it is something that nobody else is gonna have to deal with. Like,
Fair
most of
enough.
the time, I am, like, writing a Kubernetes manifest myself. I'm doing it for, the purposes of writing a blog or writing technical documentation for the Kubernetes project, which means I need to present it in the way that most Kubernetes users expect to see it.
Yeah.
So I've gotta sling YAML for that one.
That is
Um,
super fair.
yeah,
But if left
yeah.
to your own devices, I guess you would use JSON?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fair
because
enough.
if I'm the only one maintaining it, I would rather be reading and maintaining JSON.
That
So,
makes sense, that makes sense. Okay, next question, do you prefer spaces or tabs?
tabs, but I use Sublime Text, because I don't like full-fledged IDEs, they have too much shit going on, I find it annoying and distracting, and I just have Sublime Text, set up to interpret tab as spaces.
Nice.
So, I'm hitting tab, but it is inputting spaces.
Yeah, that's how I have my VS Code set up as well, so
Yeah.
cool. 'Kay, 2 more questions. Do you prefer to consume content through video or text?
Text. I cannot focus on a video. If I am forced to consume content in the form of a video, I look to see if there's a transcript or I turn on closed captioning. I don't know what it is. And I've got to be running the video at like 2x. So I prefer to, if I'm learning something, I need to read it and then do it.
Yeah.
A video, I kind of slows me down so much that I get distracted and lose focus.
I very relatable. I produce videos as part of my job, um,
Yeah.
but I optimize on blog posts. I'm a serial blogger, and
Mhm.
for consuming content, I'm the same as you, like text or bust. Videos are a last resort, like
Yeah,
desperation. I can't find the blog post on the thing. I guess I'll watch this video.
I guess, yeah, like, you do what you gotta, but I would very much prefer that, like, so please, people producing video content, give me a transcript.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and that's so important. Like I've started one of the things that takes the longest when I do this podcast is the transcription. And even though
Yep.
I've got a tool that'll transcribe it, I still have to go through and make sure that it's not spewing shit because
Yeah.
the things that come out of the transcription program are just like they're so hilarious. I should just like screen capture every time it comes up with some weird words because it's
It probably doesn't know how to spell Kubernetes,
oh yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and like, I work in, open telemetry a fair bit, and we shorten it to OTel, and the number of times it comes out as hotel.
Oh, that's funny. Okay,
So,
hotel.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
but
that's
yeah,
good.
I agree with you on the transcription, the captions, like, I mean, I watch TV with captions on. I'm too ADHD to,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I can't just sit and that's the problem, I can't just sit and watch a video, and I'm like, "I gotta be doing something." I feel, like, a lot more active when I'm reading versus watching a video, I get restless.
Yeah, the jokes about, like, kids today needing to have, like, somebody jangling keys up here and Subway surfers up on their phone just so that they can have a conversation, that is, in fact, me. I am 35 years old, and I do need, like, 6 things going on at once in order to focus on one thing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
So
I've got a million things on my desk that I fidget with, even on a
yeah.
on any given day. Between playing with the hair elastic, I've got a collection of pins that I play with.
Mm.
So,
I'm peeling gel polish off my fingernails
oh,
right now.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything to, like, focus the brain, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, final question of our icebreakers. What is your superpower?
So I have ADHD and I don't take medication for it anymore. Because I don't like the way it makes me feel, right? It
Mhm,
makes me feel like slow and sluggish and empty. The downside to that is that I procrastinate a lot,
mhm.
pretty badly. The upside is that if you give me a deadline, that thing will be done on the deadline.
Yeah,
I'm going to stress myself out and I'm going to bang that shit out like in a couple hours,
yeah.
but it will always be done on the deadline. I do not turn in work late. I don't. The only exception to that is conference talks. Um, because I define like an extra deadline for myself like 2 weeks before the conference because I
Yeah.
think it's disrespectful of your audience to like be writing a conference talk on the plane. A lot of developer advocates like brag about doing that and I think it's so fucking shitty and you should never admit to doing that in public. But conference talks I do get done in advance, but everything else I am just like I'm not going to turn in work late ever.
Awesome. That is a great superpower. So relatable, so relatable. I'm with you on the conference talks. Like, I've had so many developer advocate friends say same thing. Like, I'll write a conference. Sorry, I'll write a talk on the plane. I'm like, I can't. I'm too. My
Yeah.
anxiety kicks in. Like, there's no way that that's going to happen. I need time to prepare.
Yeah.
Time to practice. Like,
Yeah, like, I might still be tweaking slides on the
exactly.
plane, but, like, the talk is done. The
Yeah.
talk has been practiced. Like, I'm ready to go, you
Exactly.
know? So just, I don't know, be more respectful of your audience. They're paying a lot of money to see you,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely, absolutely, yeah, and on the other point that you mentioned on the deadline, because it must be a tech thing, so many of us, have ADHD, and I've noticed with my ADHD friends, like, it's the procrastinate, 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 and if you give them no deadline, nothing will happen. As soon as you give the
Right.
deadline, it's like, it's on.
It's done. It's
Yeah,
done. I'm gonna get her done. Yeah,
yeah.
and it will stress me out, and I will complain about it the whole day,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
right? Like, for sure. Like, I owe a blog tomorrow. I have not started it.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah,
known about this for a month, and I haven't started it.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
that shit'll be done tomorrow.
Oh, and plus your brain is probably working on it in the background anyway, unbeknownst
That's
to
my
you.
excuse for it, yeah, that, like, for the last month, I've been, like, idly thinking about how I'm gonna structure this and what exactly I'm gonna say, so, like, when I get up tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning and spend 2 hours hammering it out, it won't take really all that much effort, and it'll be in the hands of my colleagues before they wake up in the US.
There you go. Yeah. It's the superpower of ADHD.
Yeah, I don't know if they know that I operate that way, so it'll be really interesting when they, listen to this.
Like, surprise!
Yeah. "Whoops, sorry, Josh."
The other thing that you mentioned, which I thought was interesting, so like my ADHD is undiagnosed, but I tick all the boxes, and so
Yeah.
therefore I don't take any medication, and I've always wondered like about what it's like to take meds because my personal fear, I'm not against like meds for mental health issues,
Mhm.
but specifically for ADHD, I'm like I see it as a superpower, so I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, if I were to take it, how different would it be? So it's interesting that for you, like in your personal experience, it didn't work for you, and
Yeah.
you're like rolling with you're making it work for you.
Yeah, I'm just raw dogging it. Like I think also other people can chime in with whether or not they had this experience, but some of my friends
Mhm.
experienced this. I experienced this. I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD until I was 20.
Mm.
So I spent like my entire school career learning to work with what is wrong with my brain,
Yeah,
right? And like developing coping mechanisms to make myself like functional at school and then functional at work. And being on ADHD medication, at first I was on Adderall and then I was on Vyvanse. And Vyvanse was much easier for me to deal with than Adderall. it screwed with those coping mechanisms. Like
Mm,
those same coping mechanisms didn't work anymore because I was on an amphetamine that made it possible for me to focus without any effort.
right.
So it just made me feel like weird and
Mm.
sluggish and not myself. So it also made it harder for me to eat, which sucks. And I
Oh,
love to
yeah,
eat.
yeah.
I really really love eating, and it's hard for me to eat on ADHD medication. So I
Yeah,
lost a lot of weight, which is not ideal
yeah.
either.
Yeah,
So
I've heard that, about, folks on ADHD meds, and that's always been a fear of mine too, because I too love to eat. I enjoy my food.
yeah,
So, yeah. I
I
mean,
don't know.
at the end of the day, it's very much a personal choice. We're not endorsing one way or the other.
Oh,
But it
totally.
is very interesting to hear, like, that perspective on things. So, yeah,
I
thank you
think
for
it's worth trying. Like
Mhm.
if you've got ADHD, I think it is worth trying being medicated for it. You might love it. I
Yeah.
hated it.
Yeah,
So
fair enough, fair enough.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. Really appreciate it.
you're
So I
so
wanted
welcome.
to get into some of the nitty gritties. So I mean,
Okay,
you do some like really cool work. You are heavily involved in the Kubernetes world.
sure am.
Why don't you could you share with our audience like how you got involved, what you're currently doing? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm currently the Kubernetes release team sub-project owner and a technical lead for SIG docs. SIG stands for Special Interest Group. Kubernetes is made up of something like 30-ish, 30, I think it's 37 SIGs. There are SIGs that own code, like SIG node or SIG storage or SIG networking. We call those vertical SIGs. Then we also have horizontal SIGs that have responsibilities spanning the whole of the project, and that's things like SIG docs and SIG security. And SIG release is, I think, technically a horizontal SIG, but it's a weird, it lives in a weird corner off on its own for its responsibilities. And I got in through internet drama.
Ah.
Actually. So I learned Kubernetes at work when I was still an engineer. I was
Mhm.
doing embedded Linux development and I needed to run Kubernetes on a small embedded device. So I learned K3s, which is a like, kind of very, very small version of Kubernetes that's takes a lot of shortcuts for you. It's not a great way to learn Kubernetes, but it is cool and useful. And I was just kind of a Kubernetes user for a long time, but a few years ago, like I was friends with a bunch of Kubernetes maintainers, but I was not a contributor myself. A few years ago, the Kubernetes project decided to deprecate something called the Docker shim.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
been around long enough, you may remember this kerfuffle, but if you don't, a long, long time ago, the dawn of Kubernetes, the only container runtime you could use in Kubernetes was Docker. That was the original Kubernetes runtime, and it is the entire Docker engine stack. Eventually, other runtimes were introduced, and the Kubernetes project decided we need a standard for how these runtimes interface with the rest of Kubernetes. And Docker didn't comply with that runtime or with those requirements, but because it was the first and so many people were using it, most users were using it, we compromised and we included something called the Docker shim. And this was just like a tiny little software shim that allowed Kubernetes to get at the instance of container D, the actual runtime that
Mhm.
was running inside of the entire Docker tech stack. And this is just how things were for like 6 years.
Right.
But the Docker shim is a pain in the ass to maintain, and we didn't want to do it anymore. Like it was janky and people didn't want to maintain it. So they announced they were going to deprecate it, and they fumbled that announcement pretty catastrophically. Um, they grossly overestimated how much the average person understood about Kubernetes, about containers, about the relationship between Kubernetes and Docker. So, like, there were people that thought uh, Google was killing Docker, the company,
Oh,
when like that's an enormous leap. Like that's Google doesn't have anything to do with the day-to-day management of Kubernetes. They donated it to the CNCF and they lost control of it. And all container images are container images, whether they're produced by Docker or something else. So I saw everybody freaking out online and like thumbed out, I don't know, 10 or so tweets explaining the relationship between Kubernetes and Docker, the history there, like whether regular devs needed to care about this or not, at what point you as a cluster admin need to care about this or not. And it went viral, and I went from like 4,000 Twitter followers to like 12,000 Twitter followers overnight, which was pretty scary.
Damn.
And immediately got called in by SIG contributor experience for Kubernetes to write a bunch of blogs explaining it. And then I kind of just never left. Like I stuck around. I got asked to serve on the Kubernetes release team as a shadow on the comms sub team,
Mhm.
which is responsible for gathering feature blogs for a particular release, and just kind of bounced around the release team for a while until I led the 130 release, which is now end of life. Unfortunately, that was Kubernetes. We get to give them code names when you're a release lead. Um, and I unfortunately did I girl boss too close to the sun. I had done a very good job running the release team. So the SIG release leads, the actual like leadership of that part of Kubernetes, made up a new job for me. And now the Kubernetes release team is my problem forever until I decide to step down. So yeah. So that's 3 times a year I have to make sure that Kubernetes gets out the door safely.
Right.
Each cycle is 4 months long, and we're like about smack dab in the middle of one right now. Yeah, it's a year-round job now.
On top of your day job.
On top of my actual job, which fortunately, because I'm a developer advocate, a lot of companies like want you to still be doing open source shit
Yeah.
as your day job. So
Yeah.
it is fortunately part of my day job. It was at my last employer. It was not at my employer before that, and
Mhm.
I was having to do it like after hours, and that sucked ass. So be nice to open source contributors and maintainers. Most of this is done in people's spare time for no money at all.
Yeah, yeah, and that's such an important point, and I also like, big kudos to the companies that do support their
Yeah.
employees working in open source. I'm in a similar position as you, like, it's baked into my job to work in open source, so I'm grateful for that because I honestly don't know where I'd find the time to
Oh
do
yeah.
it, like, it's
It's
wild.
hugely time
Mhm.
consuming, and, like, my best friend is also an engineer. He works at Disney, but he doesn't get to do any open source as part of his day job. It's not his thing, so he rarely does it, but the other day, he did make an open source contribution, to some, like, Roku thing,
Yeah.
and he complained endlessly about how much of a pain in the ass the entire process was to, like, be able to do that, and that sucks. You should be making it easy for your engineers to help maintain the things that you rely upon to make money,
Yeah, yeah. Now, was
you
it a
know?
pain in the ass because of the process around the project that he was contributing to, or was it his company was being a pain in the ass about it?
Both.
Ooh,
Both. Like,
damn.
and we do this is something that I think we need to work on as open source maintainers. We all have, like, very different requirements for contributing to a project and, like, hoops that have to be jumped through, and I know most of us document them really well, but it is a barrier, and maybe there should be some standardizing on hoops, um, which is why sometimes you see contributors only exist within a specific ecosystem, right?
Mhm.
It's why you see some people working in open source and, like, never leaving, I don't know, Fedora,
Yeah,
or never leaving the Node.js ecosystem, or never leaving like a foundation, right? So like
yeah,
only contributing to LF projects or
yeah.
Apache projects or whatever, because the hoops are familiar and they don't have to learn new rules and new social norms every time.
Yeah, very true, very true. And then also, like, depending on what area you're contributing to, like, the maintainers, it might it's a different vibe, right? It's a different set of
Yeah.
maintainers. So hopefully the maintainers you're working with are a chill group who provide, thoughtful comments around pull requests so that you're not turned off from
Yeah.
ever contributing again. Like for me, I worked in like I've been in tech for now, I guess it'll be 24 years. And most of my career was in the enterprisey corporate side, like closed source. And only in the last 3 years, I've gotten into open source. And I was
Yeah.
like shitting my pants contributing, like doing my first open source contribution. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna judge me.
Oh,
And I
it's
was
fucking
lucky enough.
terrifying.
It is so terrifying. Like it's such a vulnerable experience. Like
Yeah.
you're being vulnerable when you open a pull request. Straight
Yeah.
up, you know,
It's
like
fucking scary. And like since I run the release team, we so the Kubernetes works like in a weird way with
mhm,
respect to this. We're the second largest open source project in the world behind Linux. And we have a constantly rotating cast of people who are brand spanking new to open source. Like some of them are still in college
yeah.
in the release team because it's an open application. Anybody
Yep.
can apply to Shadow on the Kubernetes release team. And so, like, there's a lot of handholding. There's a lot of teaching people, like, no, it's okay to comment on this PR. You should comment on this PR. You have to comment on this PR. Like, you
Yeah.
have to tell this person who has been in the industry for 30 years, who was one of the original Kubernetes committers, that he's wrong because he is.
Mhm.
And that's so scary for somebody who's brand new,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's scary for some people who have been in the project for years. And I get to handhold a bunch of sometimes literal children through through saying no to an original committer.
Yeah, yeah.
That's terrifying, but it's a really great way to I don't know, get ballsy early on in open source.
Oh, totally, and it's such an important thing to do. Like, I was having a conversation with someone who, you know, she was interviewing with someone that she met at a conference, and I asked her, I'm like, "Oh, so did you, like, you know, say, 'Hey, remember me from, like, when we met at a blah, blah conference?'" And she's like, "No, because he's more senior than me." I'm like, "No, no, no, no,
So,
no, no. We all breathe the same air, like, we're all human.
yeah,
Like, his position makes him no more important than you, and you have to get past those hangups." And she said, "You know, I think part of it is cultural. We are taught to, like, you know, be respectful to our elders, and therefore the people older than us, more senior than us,
yeah.
are the ones who know everything." And so I reminded her, I'm like, "No, no, you got to remember that, like, you know, older folks like me, we still have tons to learn from you guys who are more junior. Like, this is super
Yeah.
important. So
Yeah,
don't let it
new
hide."
people see things in a way that like we can't. Like when you're an expert in something, you entirely forget what it's like to not be an expert and like you have an enormous blind spot
Mhm.
because of that. Like you should always be leveraging people who are brand new. They're super helpful.
Exactly, exactly. So I think it's great that you're hand holding folks in that way and encouraging them to, like, stand up for themselves and point out the wrongs. Because unfortunately, we have too much of that in industry. I find especially in large
Yeah.
enterprise that with this obsession with seniority and rank and file and all that. So people won't point out, you know, the gross wrongs and just let people continue doing stupid shit, basically.
Yeah, we end up with a lot of like missing stairs,
Yeah.
right? Like people who like this person sucks ass. Everybody knows they suck ass, that they're difficult to work with, that they have to be handled in a specific way, but we just ignore that and like work around them because they had like one really important contribution 15 years ago or because they're like hoarding a lot of like unwritten knowledge or something. But fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that entirely. Like
Oh, yeah.
it creates like such a hostile environment for new people and anyone from an underrepresented group. Get the fuck rid of them. Like
Yeah.
don't let your missing stairs stick around just because they used to be important.
Exactly, exactly. Such an important thing to keep in mind. The other thing that I wanted to dig into a little bit that you mentioned, because you said that you work with a lot of like there's a lot of college students
Yep.
contributing to open source, which is amazing. I love
Mhm.
that that is a thing now, because like definitely when I was in college, I don't even know that there was. I mean, open source was around for sure, but it was definitely not something I was necessarily aware of or even like thought capable of contributing to. Like it just never crossed my
Yeah,
mind. And so the fact that we have these college students who are doing this sort of thing, like KubeCon, I think has like a cloud native university track
it
or
does.
polo event, which like so cool. Like it's really, focusing on bringing in this like young new talent, which I think is awesome.
I think like universities must have changed their curriculum recently because we get so many student applicants, and then the cloud native student track at KubeCon is pretty large. Like it gets a lot of applicants too for speakers, and the talks are usually pretty busy. So like I think some universities must have adjusted their curriculum to put open source on there, or at
Yeah,
least to put Kubernetes
yeah,
on the curriculum in some way, because it was a pretty like we've always had a few students, right?
yeah,
Like really, really particularly driven students who are like terminally online and aware of what's actually being used at companies today and not just staying glued to whatever their school is teaching them. So there's always been a handful of them, but now it's like it's got to be 60% of applicants for the Kubernetes release team is students or like fresh grads.
damn, that's so
So
cool.
it is significant. Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love like all that fresh perspective, and they're not jaded yet by
Oh
being.
god. Yeah, they're still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and hopeful,
Yeah,
right? Their souls haven't been crushed. They haven't worked in like the enterprise for a decade and lost their sparkle yet.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's also it's revitalizing to work with people who are still like genuinely so excited about technology,
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. I agree. I'm one of the maintainers of the Open Telemetry end user SIG, and we've had a couple of really fresh faces, like young folks join our SIG regularly as contributors, and I love the energy that they bring, the enthusiasm, the like, I'll take this on. I'm like, what?
That rules.
Yay!
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Bring it on, bring it on.
Love
So
that shit.
yeah, for sure. I wanted to switch gears a bit, and talk
Mhm.
about like your day job,
Okay.
at Minimus. 'Cause you mentioned that you're in cybersecurity. How did you get into that?
Um, this story is actually so stupid how I got this job. Um, so the job market is terrible right now as we're recording this in 2025. Absolutely abysmal.
So
I've
true.
been looking for a job for like 6 months. I live in the United Kingdom and I needed visa sponsorship, and so that made things like significantly harder and significantly slower. But this is a great example of why you should talk to people who are way more senior than you and try to be friends with people who are way more senior than you, because I got this job out of a personal recommendation from somebody I met who's the CTO at another friend's company, at an award ceremony at the House of Lords.
Wow.
Yeah,
Damn.
I was yeah, I was there to win an award for open source contributor of the year for Open UK, which is a UK organization. I did not win. I got runner up. The person who won it absolutely did deserve it. But I met this guy there. Um, he already kind of knew who I was
Yeah.
because I am friends with somebody who worked for him. And when he went to this new company, Minimus, they said they were looking for an experienced developer advocate, and he recommended me. I had never worked directly in cybersecurity before, but I have a lot of friends who are in cybersecurity or are relatively well-known hackers.
Hmm.
So I already had the connections that they wanted, and I had a shitload of experience in developer advocacy
Right.
and very strongly held opinions about how it should be done
Yeah.
from a developer advocacy standpoint. So there was no fucking around. There was no like beating around the bush with what I thought needed to be done in the interviews, and they liked the assertiveness.
That is
So
amazing. I love that.
there I ended. But it's like it's a container cybersecurity
Mhm.
company, so I do have relevant experience because I'm a Kubernetes maintainer and I used to be a software engineer,
Right.
specifically working with containers. So I have the dev experience, the user experience that they're looking for.
That's so cool. And I think this all brings. I have this firm belief that like where we are now is a result of all the things that we've done before have led us to now.
Yeah,
And so, you get to a certain point in your career and you're like, oh, this actually kind of makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and I haven't actually been in tech for that long. I didn't get into tech until I was like already like very much an adult. Before that, I was trying not to be my dad. My dad's a software engineer, and we're like damn near the same person. So
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta have not my dad's job. Like I can't have the same job as my dad. So I screwed around and tried to do other stuff for a long time, and it just like didn't work.
Yeah. What was the other stuff that you did before tech?
I was a bartender for a while at a strip club, so that was fun. But, I also worked at, a video rental store.
Uh-huh.
So, like an independently owned video rental store, called Black Lodge Video, it was in
Mhm.
Memphis, Tennessee. Um, Whereas, like, the average Blockbuster would have, like, 600, 1,000 titles in the store, we had, like, 40 something thousand.
Oh,
So
damn.
yeah. So in order to like recommend movies to customers, everybody had to kind of like pick a genre and that's your genre. So for a few years I got paid to just like watch horror movies and talk to people about horror movies all
Ooh,
day. And when I make enough money to leave tech and never come back, I am probably just going to go back to doing that because it was great. It was rad, Like, all I did was watch movies and talk about movies
that's so
all
cool.
day.
Now, do you have,
Yeah.
like, a particular favorite genre of horror movie? Do you prefer, like, the supernatural stuff or, like, the slasher flicks?
Um, so I like psychological horror a
Ooh.
lot, like unreliable narrator type horror. I like when horror crosses over with sci-fi quite a lot. That's probably my favorite. So stuff like
Mm.
Event Horizon or Alien,
Right, right.
where like you can argue that this is horror and you can argue that this is sci-fi. Um, I like I like ghost stories, but not so much Western ghost stories, as much as I like Japanese or Korean ghost stories.
Mm.
Japan and Korea both had periods where they just like absolutely crushed the ghost story movie genre. Did a very, very good job with that. The French also had a period of time where they were churning gore in a really interesting way.
Uh-huh.
And that was a good period of horror movies for me. But generally, it's like sci-fi horror crossover or psychological horror. Like you
Right.
can't tell if this is an unreliable narrator situation.
Yeah.
Like, is this person possessed? Is this person actually insane? Um, I know it's very fun to shit on M. Night Shyamalan. There was a period where he was very predictable with the
Oh, yeah,
what a
yeah.
twist
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But, The Visit is genuinely, like, I don't get scared watching horror movies
Uh-huh.
anymore, but that's the last time I can remember watching a movie and my stomach dropping.
Oh, damn.
Like, the twist in that one, I was like, "Oh, fuck." Like, these kids are so cooked, dude. That's you can make fun of them for the what a twist thing all you want, but
I
The
still
Visit
enjoy
was
movies. I still enjoy
fuck.
movies, like, they fuck with you.
They really, really, really do. They do, and The Happening had some really inventive death
Oh my
scenes as
god,
well,
that
so
one, like, that
the
one
lawnmower
buried in
thing?
my brain, like, for real. I can never
Yeah,
that was the one with the wasn't that the one with the plants? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
mhm,
I can never look at plants the same way after that
yeah,
one.
because they wanna murder you,
Yeah, right?
or they wanna make you murder you, is
Yeah,
what's actually going on. God damn, that man can crank out a really unpleasant movie.
yeah.
We're all still mad at him for Avatar, but if he can go back to just making, like, really upsetting horror movies, that's he kills it
Yeah,
at
totally
that.
nails that genre. I
Yeah.
agree. That's so cool. I love the breadth in the career. My dad also is in tech, and he was like a software architect for many years. He's retired, and when I graduated university, I ended up working at the same company as him. We both worked at Accenture for a brief period, and it was and that's where I met my husband too, so it was the 3 of us working there,
Oh, wow.
and, you know, it wasn't until I left like, the whole time I was there, like, they're both really smart, my husband is also in tech, and I spent the entire time trying to live up to them, to be just like them, and it wasn't until I left and realized, "Oh, I can forge my own path,"
You
and then
can.
that's when I started to actually find myself in tech, but, like, I
Yeah.
can totally understand the, avoid following in the footsteps,
Yeah.
because it's
I
so
don't
easy.
even I don't write any of the same languages my dad does, even. So, like, I don't know what I was so worried about, but he didn't believe I was a real programmer until I learned a compiled language, though. Like, he
Oh,
thought that Python did not count, JavaScript did not count. I had to learn something compiled
uh-huh.
for it to count. We got there eventually. We got there eventually, but he took a while to call me an actual software engineer because of that one.
So what ended up getting you into tech after like dabbling in various areas?
I had been like doing it as a side hustle,
Mm.
in that I was building WordPress and Joomla templates for people, as a side hustle because like bartending in the state of Tennessee pays you $2.13 an hour plus tips.
Ouch. Were the tips
And
good?
no,
Oh, shit.
no, no. So it's like technically, legally, if you don't make it up to federal minimum wage, over the course of a pay period, 7.25 an hour, you report that, and your employer is supposed to pay you the difference. But the reality is that if you do that, you're just going to get fired,
Right, right, of
right?
course, yeah.
So like, yeah, so it didn't pay great. And while I loved working at Black Lodge Video, it also didn't pay great. So I was doing a side hustle, and I got one really, really beefy contract, for a sports association. It was the most expensive contract I had had at that point. It was 10 grand, which doesn't sound like a lot of money now, but at the time it was like a life changing
Mhm,
quantity of money for me. And I thought, man, maybe I have to actually commit to this. So I went to a coding boot camp.
mhm.
I had moved to Seattle at that point, because my husband at the time was a fencing coach, and he took a job with a fencing club there. But I went to a coding academy, went to Code Fellows, and learned Python. And my first job was not like super well paying for Seattle for junior. It was $60,000, but that was still like many, many times more money than I had ever seen in my bank account,
Mhm.
you know? So it was kind of hard to leave after that. Like
Yeah,
suddenly being able to pay off like old medical debt and stuff was pretty, I don't know. It was hard to be mad at that. So
yeah,
that
yeah,
one 10K contract made me go, okay, like maybe like I'm good at this,
yeah,
obviously. I enjoy doing this, and it pays. It pays better than working in a video store, it pays better
yeah.
than bartending, and it will continue to pay. Whereas, service industry roles are notoriously, like, not very stable.
Mhm.
I don't know what I would have done if I was still in the service industry during COVID.
Yeah, that was brutal for folks in the service industry.
Yeah, I would have been so fucked,
Yeah,
right? Like, many, many people were fucked.
yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
it was a good choice, and, I have accepted that I just am my dad, and that's okay. My dad is cool as hell. So he's retired. He lives on the beach in Mississippi in a house on stilts, and all he does is hang out with his dog that he found out on the side of the highway. He makes soap that he sells at a farmer's market, and he watches like The Real Housewives.
Damn.
He's very happy. He's like really living the dream. I'll
That
call him and
that
it's
is a
2
chill
p.m. there, and he's like drinking a martini with his dog. I like so
That is a
yeah.
chill life.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's got it pretty good, and, like, I would like that to be me when I'm 70.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for
So
sure. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I love that. I could just keep going and going. I've had so much fun chatting with you today.
yeah.
We are coming up on time, but before we wrap things up, I was wondering if there was any words of wisdom or spicy takes that you wanted to impart.
Spicy take as a Kubernetes maintainer. Sometimes Kubernetes is like fully not correct for your use case. Don't overcomplicate it. Like you don't need to throw Kubernetes at it straight out the fucking gate. Also, you should probably not be rolling your own cluster. You should be using a managed service. You absolutely should not roll your own cluster unless you are very, very sure that you know what you're doing personally. Or you have like $300,000 a year laying around to pay somebody who knows what they're doing to administrate your cluster. Otherwise, please use a managed service. Do not roll your own.
I am fully supportive of that. Absolutely. Yeah. And on your first statement of like Kubernetes might not suit your use case, there was definitely a huge influx of people who were like, we must use Kubernetes because it is the cool
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
it is a cool thing, but it is also so much more work than is necessary for some things.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and very, very great, spicy take. Very important to educate the folks out there. So, yeah, I really appreciate it. Well, thank you so much, Kat, for geeking out with me today. And y'all don't forget to subscribe and be sure to check the show notes for additional resources and to connect with us and our guests on social media. Until next time,
Peace out and geek out.
Geeking Out is hosted and produced by me, Adriana Vilela. I also compose and perform the theme music on my trusty clarinet. Geeking Out is also produced by my daughter, Hannah Maxwell, who incidentally designed all of the cool graphics. Be sure to follow us on all the socials by going to bento.me/geekingout.